What's up everyone, and welcome to our third installment with more Strange Godzilla art. And boy, are we gonna go out with a bang on this one. There's a lot of art pieces to cover here, so with that being said, let's dive in. Please consider both liking and subscribing, it really helps. The first set of posters we're gonna look at here are for Son of Godzilla. And to begin with, here's the French poster, which was titled The Planet of the Monsters. The thing that most likely catches your eye here is the inclusion of the demonic-looking King Ghidorah here. Why they decided to put him there is something I really can't answer. There's also these spaceships back here that you definitely wouldn't associate with Son of Godzilla. The German poster also has a similar problem with including King Ghidorah right here on the poster, but I can only imagine the frustration or at least confusion by people who watch the movie and Ghidorah is nowhere in sight. Also, this poster translates as Frankenstein's monsters hunt Godzilla's son. Now just saying that mouthful of a title just confuses me, more so than Ghidorah being there. Now I believe everyone and their mom knows this, but the Frankenstein name was often shoved on the title of certain Godzilla movies as a way to help market the films in Germany, since Frankenstein was just a more recognizable name up there. Italy got a few posters which were okay. They were titled The Son of Godzilla. Now there's nothing really wrong or unusual here. Well, except maybe Godzilla looking a little vampire-like in this one. And I really don't remember the tanks and this many people in the movie, but other than that, everything seems like it should. Until we get to the Italian re-released poster, which has an oversized hand being fired at by battleships and jets flying around all over the place. This really doesn't do a good job of representing the movie in any sort of way, since this is one of the few movies in which Godzilla, or any monster for that matter, doesn't battle the military. And for whatever sort of reason, they changed the title to The Return of Gorgo. Which, yes, Gorgo is another one of those monsters whose name finds its way into certain Godzilla titles. In fact, there's a funny one we'll get to a little later on in the video. To cap off the Son of Godzilla art, here's the Poland poster. And this one is probably one of the most disturbing Godzilla posters I've seen yet. For one, you got who I'm guessing is Manila down here, looking like the skin on his head is almost completely dissolved to the bone. It looks really disturbing. The bloody bubbles coming out of its mouth only add to the terror. And look what the title says, Sin Godzilla? Yeah, I know it's really called Son of Godzilla, but the way it's spelled in this skeleton-looking font, you just have to wonder if the artist purposely wanted to creep people out. Next we have Invasion of Astro Monster, or Monster Zero, whichever your preferred title is. Here we're looking at one of the Italian posters titled Year 2000, The Invasion of the Astro Monsters. I don't know where the random year of 2000 came from. I don't believe there's any sort of date in the film, unless it's maybe in the Italian dub. More importantly is what we're looking at here, because this thing is obviously not Godzilla, nor Ghidorah or RODAN for that matter. I won't lie and say that it isn't cool though. The design feels very unexpected, like the hairy arm and tail comboed with the scaly body. There's a different variation of the poster which shows the creature again, or maybe it's something else. Some other countries also got the weird monster poster as well, like Turkey where it was called Monster from Outer Space, and the Lebanon poster which was called King Kong 2000. Yes, many years before there was a Godzilla 2000. The French posters are often some of the oddities of these movies, but this one isn't really that bad. King Ghidorah does have some minor visual changes on him, like him only having a single tail, the red underneck skin tone, and the serpent dragon-like head design. But overall, this isn't really a bad poster. Now the Belgian poster actually went ahead and redid the art, making it look a lot worse in comparison. The first thing you'll obviously notice is that Ghidorah is now drawn as a short, fat, dark dragon with red eyes, and what looks like he's shooting a fire breath instead of his iconic gravity beam. Everything else is similar to the French one with some minor changes. The only other thing now is that Nick Adams is the only actor who got his name on the poster, while other actors like Kumi Mizuno, Yoshio Tsuchiya, and even Adams' partner in the film, Akira Takarada, just weren't worthy enough to get that honor. Oh, and in both countries the movie was called Invasion Planet X. I'm always excited when a Poland poster comes up, and thankfully this movie has one. Unfortunately, this one titled Monster Invasion has to be the most random thing I've seen drawn for this movie. Like, what is this even supposed to represent from the film? To me, it looks like a grumpy penguin with a plant growing over its head. I mean, am I supposed to look at this upside down to see a different picture? I really have nothing else to say about it. It definitely is one of the weaker Poland posters by far. Godzilla vs. Gigan doesn't have many odd posters, but the American one definitely fits that bill. First off, Godzilla is now more of a giant than what he should be. I mean, look at how he's gripping King Ghidorah's neck here. The poor creature's just trying to get out of his deathlock. He's also attacking an amusement park, which is actually pretty accurate to the film, just not this type of park. The artist also has him shooting a green beam attack. Gigan's chilling in the back here, and Anguirus, well, he's pretty much ignored like he is in the film. Oh, and the film's title was called Godzilla on Monster Island, which was always a weird title to give this movie. The next poster you're seeing here was an art piece used for several countries like France here. The kaiju are all drawn pretty well, with the obvious exception of Godzilla, who was simply copied from his Godzilla vs. The Thing poster, making him look very out of place here, and really the only thing that ruins the picture. We now get to another Poland poster, and this time it's actually eye-appealing, in an abstract way of course. Godzilla here has this sea world inside him for whatever reason. The bug randomly placed here looks like he's about to participate in a sumo match, and Godzilla is also shooting this weird colored sonar beam from its mouth. That kind of makes this look like it was art made for a very old computer game, which is not a bad thing. Also, for whatever reason, seeing this makes me want to see a wallpaper-sized version of the image, only with Godzilla showing more of the ocean inside him. Don't ask me why, I just randomly would like to see that. The American poster for Godzilla vs. Megalon is often remembered as an iconic one. It's the one where both Godzilla and Megalon are battling on top of the World Trade Center, which is an obvious thing that doesn't happen in the movie. Also, this is one of the very few non-Japanese posters that actually get Godzilla's look right, or at least pretty close to it. He isn't given the overly drastic green dinosaur treatment for this one, and comes off more close to the suit used for the film. So props to the artist for actually using reference on this one, but of course they ruin it by giving him a fire breath. As a rare occurrence, we're actually going to look at a Japanese poster now. Now you're thinking, why the Godzilla vs. Megalon poster? Well, just look and see why. For one, it looks as though the monsters are coming out of a portal that leads to a different dimension, a psychedelic one at that. Godzilla looks like he's holding Megalon here, and yes, I know that's not really what's supposed to be happening, but when I was young when I first saw this, I thought that because just look at the way Megalon is standing in thin air here. Godzilla's dorsal fins look wrong, they seem as though they're either bending or protruding off his back. And what's with this reddish-orange fire breath? For shame, Toho. Okay, I need to pause right here to say something. So, as it turns out, a lot of the Japanese posters actually feature Godzilla using a fiery red, or sometimes yellow, breath at times, instead of the traditional blue breath. So, whoops on their part, and on my part for not double checking. Okay, back to the video. So, we're now looking at the French Megalon poster titled Godzilla 1980. This was also the poster used in Belgium. And what a fascinating title that is. And another great example of an artist clearly not given any direction on the exact movie they're supposed to be drawing for. They were like, oh, I'm doing art for a movie called Godzilla 1980? Well, I'll just draw Godzilla attacking New York City, complete with giant mole hands, and making him bigger than what he's supposed to be. All of which is inaccurate to the film. Not saying I blame the artist for this one, because if I was going off the title alone, I'd probably draw something similar. The Italian posters here were very weird in design, especially on Jet Jaguar, who looks really creepy in this one. Interestingly, they didn't feature Godzilla on most of them, and they were titled At the Borders of Reality. A very fascinating title for sure. But if you want to hear a very engrossing title, then look no further than the Spanish poster, which was titled Gorgo and Superman Meet in Tokyo. The dream team you never knew you wanted. I'll just move on and let that speak for itself. Destroy All Monsters had a lot of oddball posters, and to start, we're looking at the American one. Now, to begin with, the kaiju look very demented to say the least. I mean, look at Manila here. This is the evilest I've ever seen the little monster behave. Kumanga is now a big hairy spider with antenna. MOTHRA is now a centipede. Gorosaurus looks like his jaw and hands mutated. Godzilla now looks like Frog the Jam. And Garrus looks like he merged with a dragon and actually looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. MANDA wants to look like he did in Atragon. RODAN's now a blue flying turkey. And Ghidorah is... well, he's here. There's nothing really wrong with him, except that the dragon features are just a bit exaggerated. Wouldn't it be cool if King Kong was in Destroy All Monsters? Well, apparently he is in the Italian version, which was randomly called the Heirs of King Kong. I wonder who they pinned Kong's name on in the movie. There isn't even a mammal kaiju in the entire film, so your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, both posters are okay if they were associated with an actual Kong movie, and not a motion picture in which he's obviously not in. There are two other posters which feature Kong, I guess wreaking havoc with two giant green dinosaurs. I guess the one's supposed to be Godzilla, but there are two of them, and there's clearly not two Godzilla looking creatures in the movie. I guess the other could be Gorosaurus, but I'm giving the art way too much credit on that. One interesting poster here is the Spain one titled Extraterrestrial Invasion, which actually features two of the characters and not a single kaiju. You'd think with a movie like this they want to capitalize on the creatures, but they boldly chose not to do that here. And in turn, this poster seems like it's going to be about a battle against space aliens, which is not really inaccurate. To wrap this video up, let's finally look at the original Godzilla posters. And what better way to start than with the UK poster. First off, Godzilla is very chunky than what he should be. He spits fire, not from his mouth, but his upper lip, I guess. Also, I don't really recall the blonde lady in the movie, but then again the film was in black and white, so maybe there was one in there. Finally, the X rating makes me feel like I'm about to watch a very graphic film, which the original has its moments, but it's nothing that'll make you throw up. The Poland poster is very tame from the standards I've come to expect from the country's posters. Still, it has a very artsy quality to it, with Godzilla looking like he's patterned out of fiberglass, looming over a very small, overly oriental looking Tokyo. This one is okay. The only thing I have a problem with is Godzilla's bulging eyes and the way he just looks like he has no teeth here. The French poster definitely wins in the creepy department, with Godzilla's terrifying looking face and the choice of colors for the poster. The sky is a darkened blue, the city is a blood red. Godzilla being almost entirely black helps him pop out from this piece. And I'm not sure what this yellow is around his mouth. It could possibly be his breath. Still, with that color choice, it does lure your eyes to his face. Overall, a really nice looking poster. The only thing that ruins it is Godzilla's oversized foot. The Swedish poster, titled Godzilla, Monster of the Sea, goes for a more cartoony approach with its design, both with Godzilla and pretty much everything else. It is nice that Godzilla does have his color scheme instead of the green most posters put him in, and I like how it captures that black and white movie feel. The little bit of color does complement the piece to help certain things stand out. Oh, and if you're wondering what this says, it reads, "Makes King Kong look like a dwarf." And I'm just saying that may not be accurate, I did use Google Translate for it. Finally, let's look at variations of pretty much the same poster, starting with these three posters in this particular pose. Let's begin with the Spanish poster titled Japan Under Terror of the Monster. Quite a mouthful of a title. Anyway, this one looks like someone tried to make Godzilla out of mud and it looks very rough. Not my favorite of the batch. The Italian poster looks the most normal of the three, and the only one in which Godzilla is not holding a train in his mouth. Though it does make you realize how awkwardly shaped his hands are here. The German poster is the most lively of the three, with an actual background and detail, and even gives Godzilla a tail. The final variant set of posters we'll now look at all seem to base themselves around the original Japanese poster here. First, there's the American poster. Fun fact, this is the first time Godzilla was ever shown to be green. Despite that, I do like how vibrant this poster looks. The colors really mesh together nicely, and there's a lot of detail going around the poster that it really helps Godzilla being that soft spot for your eyes to rest on. There were different variations of the American poster itself, which are about the same in quality. The Belgian one is okay. Yes, Godzilla gets his gray color scheme back, but the poster just loses everything that made the American one stand out. Argentina has the most laughable version of the art, with one of Godzilla's legs being larger than the other, his tail now looks like a worm, Godzilla has no detail on him whatsoever, and his head makes him look like Littlefoot from The Land Before Time. The Cuban poster, I don't know what happened to his face here. He almost looks like a Klasky Chupo character. No hate towards the artist there, I'm just saying. The Australian one is easily the weakest of the batch, with it looking almost empty. I get the saying that less is more, but for this I kinda want more than just Godzilla standing on a blank canvas. So to wrap this up, here's a little happy daybill poster of Godzilla smiling. And that'll about do it for this video here. Were there any posters that you liked, loved, or absolutely hated? If so, please leave so in the comments below. Anyways, until next time everyone, take it easy.
When you get